while since I've made a video, and now that 3D archery season's here, I want to go over one of the highly debated topics within the archery community, especially when it comes to hunting arrows. So, heavier arrow, losing speed, lighter arrow, gaining speed, knockdown power, which equates to kinetic energy. So I just bought my Matthews V3. Just to give you a heads up, I have a video coming out soon on that. All brand new, different stuff. I've never tried before in my life, so I'm pretty excited about the way it turned out. Shot my first 3D tournament with it this past weekend with my daughter, who also got a Matthews V3. I got the 31 inch, so let's get going into today's video. This topic today is very debated within the archery community, especially amongst hunters themselves. So the past like 8 years I've used the same arrow, which would be the Carbon Express Maxima Hunter. Last year what I tried was I wanted to get on this train of these heavier arrows, more knockdown power type deal stuff. So all of last year I went with the Easton Full Metal Jacket 5mm. With the new bow, I also wanted to, again, try something different. So I bought 6 of the Maxima Red SDs. Pretty impressed with this arrow so far for its weight. I also went with the Easton Hex, which is the lightest arrow I have. The Carbon Express Maxima Hunter is the second lightest. Easton Full Metal Jacket is the next heaviest, and then the Maxima Red SDs is the absolute heaviest I have. So what is this all about today? Well, let's talk about this for a minute. Everybody says, well, I have a shorter draw length, so therefore I can't get the speeds that I want, so I might as well go with a heavier arrow to begin with. Wrong. And I'm going to prove it to you today. Wrong. You're going to be very surprised and shocked about the testing that we did. There's not going to be any hidden fancy editing, nothing. You're going to see everything from start to finish on this testing. So before I started the testing, I came up with some stats. Okay, the Easton Hex weighs in at 340.2 grains. All of my arrows, from the inside center of the nock all the way to the tip where the field point screws in, is 27.5 inches on the nose. So the Easton Hex, let's get back to this, 340.2 grains. The Carbon Express Maxima Hunter, 356.0 grains. The Easton FMJ 5mm, 429 grains. And the heaviest arrow winning the grand prize is the Carbon Express Maxima Red SD, coming in at a whopping 452.8 grains. So you take somebody into consideration like John Dudley. What happens? He's got a 30.5 inch draw. He's shooting 75 pounds on his draw weight, and he's shooting over a 500 grain arrow. And what's he like? He likes to be in that 280 range, right? 280, 285 feet per second. Okay, well, how much kinetic energy is he really delivering? For somebody that has a longer draw weight or draw length, he is going to be able to make up the difference in the kinetic energy. For somebody that has a shorter draw length, which is majority of us are either at 30 or below for our draw length. Okay, I have 27.5 inch draw length. I shoot 65 pound mods on my Matthews Verdicts, and I'm drawing at about 64.8 pounds according to the draw scale, and I will show you guys that. My limbs are already all the way maxed out. We already went over. I have a 27 inch arrow, and I shoot 100 grain field points. Okay, what do you think the difference is between my kinetic energy from my Easton Hex weighing in at 340.2 grains to my heaviest arrow, 452.8 grains, which is the Carbon Express Maxima SDs? Do you think that knockdown power is actually more beneficial than the amount of speed I'm actually losing by going up 112.8 grains from my lightest to my heaviest arrow? You're going to be surprised by this. My answer is absolutely not worth it. Period. It doesn't make sense to cut this much speed out of it. To start, my Easton Hex was clocking at 302 feet per second at 340.2 grains. My Carbon Express Maxima Red SD, which is weighing in at 452.8 grains, was clocked at 267 feet per second. It's a pretty significant difference. We're talking a difference of 35 feet per second that I lost from my lightest arrow to my heaviest arrow. Now think about that just for a second. 35 feet per second does not sound like a very significant amount of loss in speed, correct? I would agree with you, okay? But what I'm gaining by adding 112.8 grains and losing 35 feet per second, I'm only gaining 1.38 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. Do you believe that? I didn't either until I used the Realtree Kinetic Energy calculator. So that's the reason for this experiment today. Let's go through this and get started. Alright, so we did our weighing of each arrow. 3 arrows in each one of the 4 groups. The Easton Hex, I had 341.8, 340.2, and 340.2, which gives me an average weight of 340.7 grains. The Maxima Hunters, we had 354.4, 356.8, 356.2, which give me an average weight of 355.8. The Easton Full Metal Jackets gave me 428.6, 429.8, and 430 even, which give me an average weight of 429.46. And the Maxima Red SDs gave me 352.4, 453.0, and 452.4, which gave me an average of 352.6. So now let's take these 3 arrows each and go to the chronograph to see what it shows, and then we'll go to the and then we'll go to the Realtree Kinetic Energy calculator. Stay with me, here we go. 302, 303, something's not right with that last one because it registered at 240, and we all know that's not right, so we'll do that one again. Blow out the sensors there and chop this one on the right. So this is the same arrow, and we'll do this one again. With 240, I know that wasn't even close. And 300. So 302, 303, and 300 on the Easton Hex. I dropped my pen here. So the Easton Hex, we had 303, 302, and 300. So I'll get an average for that as soon as I finish up shooting these. So just go right into the Carbon Express next. Make sure my cameras are still recording here. That way we haven't shut them off at all. $293. Alright, so I'll put these down on the ground so they don't blow everywhere. Last one of the Carbon Express Maximum Hunters. So we have 293 and 296, so this will be the third one on it. And 92, we know that's not right, so do that one again. $296. So 293, 296, and 296. Now we'll go to FMJs. 73. 73, the duplicate. 273, all three of them, right down the middle on the FMJ. That's pretty good. Pretty consistent arrows right there. Now we'll go with the Maxima Red SDs. Be even slower. $235. $263. So I'll probably have to shoot that one again. $263, $266. Yeah, I'll shoot that one that came out at $235 again. Because that would not be fair. $265. Now we will take the average speeds, add them up, divide them by 3 to get the averages. So on the SDs, 263 plus 266 plus 265 equals 794 divided by 3. So we're looking at an average speed of 264.6 FPS. Alright, we'll go on to the next one, which would be the Maxima Hunters. So we got 293 plus 296 plus 296 divided by 3 equals 293 plus 296 plus 296 equals 885 divided by 3 is average speed 295 feet per second. Next we'll go with the FMJs. Those were 273 across the board, so that has no need to be averaged because those arrows were perfect. No deviation from the speed on those. Then we'll go with the Easton Hex. So we got 303 plus 302 plus 300 equals 905 divided by 3 is 301.6. 301.6. So that is pretty spread out, along with the weights. You know, from my lightest arrows to my heaviest arrows, we're looking at 112 grains and some change in there. 111, 112 grains between my lightest and my heaviest. Speed-wise, 264 to 301. So we're looking at 31, 36 feet per second. Some change, give or take just a little bit. Doesn't seem like a lot, but let's get into the kinetic energy, because a 112 grains heavier arrow is not worth the speed you lose for foot-pounds of kinetic energy. It's just not worth it. And I'm going to prove it to you right here. Okay? So I'm going to pull this up on my phone. Let's do this real quick. You can just go to Realtree's. You can go to Google and type in Realtree Kinetic Energy Calculator. Okay. You type that in, it'll bring it up for you. You just click on it, and it will ask you for, well, your email address at first. So arrow weight and grains. So let's start with the heaviest ones, which is the Maxima Red SDs, weighing an average of 452.6. 452.6. And arrow speed, we got 264.6. 264.6. Hit generate. It's got to be whole numbers, so you can't put in the 0.6s. So we'll do 452 and 264 even. Okay, so you can see that there. Hit generate. Your setup is suitable for this stout setup, suitable for big game, blah blah blah. Arrow weight 452 grains. Arrow speed 264 feet per second. Gives us a kinetic energy of 69.94. And that was the FM, or no, the SDs. So 69.94. Okay. Now let's go 454. Yep. Actually, it was, I'm sorry, it was 452, not 454. And then 264. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I had to make sure I got my numbers right. Don't want to cheat anybody, make anybody think that I'm cheating or anything like that. So 69.94 foot-pounds. So let's go to my Easton Hexes, which is the lightest setup. So the arrow weight was 340.7, but we can't do 0.7, so we'll just round down. And the average speed was 301.6, so we'll just do 301. Generate kinetic energy, and we get 68.39 foot-pounds. So we'll finish out the rest of this obviously with, you know, the two that are in the middle, but I went from lightest to heaviest, and losing 35 feet per second, I'm only gaining 1.6 foot-pounds of kinetic energy by adding 112 grains of arrow weight. That is not worth losing that much speed, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not worth it at all. At least not to me. I don't think it is. Somebody may be different. Somebody may disagree with me, but I don't think that's worth it at all. So let's go to the next one here. And so we'll do the Easton FMJs, 429.46. So we'll just do 429 for the arrow weight. 429 for the arrow weight. Arrow speed on those was 273, right down the pipe on all three of them. So we'll generate it, and the camera keeps falling over, sorry. We're getting 70.98 foot-pounds on those. So Easton FMJs, 70.98. And we'll go to the other ones, which maximum hunters were 355, and the speed on those was 295 feet per second. So we'll generate the kinetic energy on those, and we get 68.59. Just so you can see that again, 355 for the weight and 295 for the arrow speed. So that's just, and we were at 68.59. And just to finish it off, going right down the list, let's go. The Easton Hex was 340 and a speed of 301, generate, and 68.39. So with that, I mean, granted, we didn't go to the extreme of some of these people, like John Dudley, who's going, over 500 grains on arrow. We didn't go to the extreme of some of the people on the hunting public who are going over 500 grains as well on their arrows. But for somebody with a short draw length to add 112 grains and only get 1.6 more foot-pounds of kinetic energy and lose 35 feet per second, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So hopefully that clears up the debate. If you like this video, give us a like and a subscribe. Go check out our Facebook and Instagram pages. Hopefully this cleared up some of this debate on heavy versus light arrows, speed versus knockdown power. I know it does for me, and I know what I'm sticking with this year. Hopefully this helps you out and helps you too. Thanks.